Namaste, Namaskaram, Vanakkam, Namo Namaha, Jai Ganesha. Please visit our website at classicalyoga.org, and there is a donate button if you'd like to help us out. G.U.N.S. G.U.N.S. Just a few thoughts this morning. And I know this podcast is going to seem extremely idealistic, but let's just look at it with a grain of salt, food for thought, food for contemplating this life that we're all in. As Hindus would say, these many lifetimes that we're all in, our human condition, all the good that we do, and all the horrific things that we do. Let's make an acronym out of G.U.N.S. Giant, Ubiquitous, Nefarious Systems. Giant, Ubiquitous, Nefarious Systems. Just think for a moment about the development of the gun. This allowed anyone now to, quote unquote, be a man. Where it was primarily the men that were fascinated with guns. But now with the ability to simply pull a trigger, any quote unquote man could kill another man or woman, child, or animal, without having to physically develop oneself. So in a sense, was not the honorable warrior mindset completely lost? Someone who could live a disciplined life and train themselves, become very physically fit, mentally strong, emotionally strong, able to cope with the wild, for example, could easily be taken out by even a child, anyone. A physically, mentally, emotionally weak person with just the pull of a trigger. Now it was not a level playing field anymore. No longer did an individual have to learn the ways of the wilderness and how to survive by one's own means. The simple pull of the trigger could bring down the largest animal. And look how this escalated into where we are today. The military-industrial complex, massive amounts of quote-unquote sophisticated weapons, to the ultimate nuclear bombs that can instantaneously wipe out the whole of humanity and the planet itself. If you care to, you can do your own homework on the statistics of gun violence in the most violent nations in the world. Of course, the United States is at the top of the list. The increase in school shootings by really cowardly individuals who, with the simple pull of a trigger, can destroy the lives of countless people. Not only people, but look at what has been done to animals. Back in the pioneer days, obviously when the goal was to wipe out the Native American Indians, the military leaders knew that if they wiped out the quote-unquote Indians' commissary, the buffalo. Subsequently, the natives, quote-unquote, would be easy to subjugate. And they actually used to have tours when the train was developed, where they would ride through the plains and just shoot down the buffalo. How callous. How crude. Have we really risen above these very base instincts? The worst part of the male nature is being hard and crude and mean and intolerant. And a gun or other weapon in the hand of such a person has devastating effects. So is it not time for all of us to take a step back? Obviously, we're living in a very different world. But try and reorient, to some extent, whatever we can do, our priorities. And about what this life is really all about. Why are we here? Let's turn G.U.N.S inside out. And what do we get? S.N.U.G. I know, of course, this is laughable to a lot of people. Snow. Or snuggle. Hug someone. Hug yourself. Find comfort in the inner reality of who we all are, essentially. This is what religion is supposed to be about. And when you combine guns and religion, wow, devastating. Religion is supposed to be about tapping into an inner sense of love. All religions speak of it. People speak of it. An inner experience of light, if you will, or feeling joyful, light. Now, when we're in a very machismo mindset, full of energy, full of passion, full of revenge, we don't stop to think that this can be turned back in on us and our families. It's a huge wake-up call when violence and death hit home. It's these experiences that give us a firm shake and wake us up, soften us a bit to who we essentially are. In Hindu yoga religion, we simply say Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art. Meaning that we are the inner essence of pure energy, which we can put to good or bad use. An inner light, which provides the imagination, the inspiration to create goodness, to help others, to create guns. And an innate sense of joy and pleasure that can be beneficial or a sadistic lust. It's all up to us. We have the choice to snuggle up to our inner self to the inner self of all. And truly respect who we are and respect others. We simply say love, light, and energy, Om. This are we with emotions, mind, and body. What are we going to do with our emotions? What are we going to create with our mind? What are we going to do with our body? Are we going to hold out a hand and help? Are we going to make a fist and hurt? At least this is a sign of a strong human. But when we create an artificial weapon, now it's very easy to assume a sense of bravado that's not really won by living a disciplined life. Now again, I know this is extremely idealistic in today's world and in all times, but it's something for us to think about. I know many remember the movie The Last Samurai. Remember the disciplined life that they led, but they were no match for the modern invention of weapons and Gatling guns. So at present, in our highly developed materialistic world, it's time to think about all of the giant, ubiquitous, nefarious systems that we humans have created. Various institutions of life are very natural outcomes of society. It seems to be that when they become too big, when they become giant, that's when the problems emerge. Just as we too, when we become too big, too full of ourselves, that the problems emerge. All of the institutions that make society run are fine. It's when we lose the inner connection, the humanity, if you will, that an out-of-control situation develops, corruption develops. We can see it in all of the necessary institutions of life. If we decide to join society, we don't have to. We could live in the forest, like the yogis do of today. But joining society, we have political institutions, we have religious institutions, we have educational institutions. And when we lose our inner anchor, our humanity of who we truly are, these systems can get out of control. And we have corruption in politics, corruption in the educational systems, corruption in the religious systems. But we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We just purify. We work on ourselves. Remember, we're all here on a very temporary visa, if you will. So at the point of physical death, if we're still aware enough at that point, we may want to ponder what this was all about. Why? What all these experiences about? Did we really have to be so hard, so crude, so mean, so intolerant, so violent? This softening process, which life is doing to all of us if we live long enough, Our body gets weaker, our mind, our emotions, as we're getting ready for the next experience, whatever one believes that to be. So while we're here, why not take a moment out every day and close your eyes and rest this wandering mind and look inside and see what you can find. Sitting quietly, let all the strife subside, and perhaps find the peace and comfort inside. For we're all searching everywhere for happiness, for an inner sense of love and light and energy. In the Hindu Yoga Dharma, we tell the story of the bird of truth. That this man or woman had reached a point where they're desperately searching for the answers to what this life is all about. And a wise sage told this individual that the answer lied in a exotic bird, the bird of truth. So this individual went off in search. Life itself. Experiencing all the highs and lows, the cuts, the bruises, the good times, the bad times. This eternal journey that all of us are on as we seek joy and its resultant sorrow. We try to find inner satisfaction, often in very distorted and perverted outer ways. Until one day, exhausted from the search, we sit and happen to glance on our shoulder. And lo and behold, there was the bird the whole time. When we're so caught in an outer search, an outer struggle, we don't take time often to reflect on perhaps a truth inside of all of us. That experience of inner joy and love and light and energy. Om, this are we, with emotions, mind, and body. At this point, the choice is up to us. Do we continue to create giant, ubiquitous, nefarious systems? Or do we reverse the process and feel snug, feel the comfort, the inner warmth of humanity? Idealistic, you say? Yes. But this is what we do as humans. We have ideas, imaginations. Einstein himself recognized the vital importance of imagination. Imagine it, dream it, and create. Move on. Why not strive to become a mature man, a mature woman that does not necessarily need extreme outer forces and things to make one feel confident? Find the inner, youthful, loving warrior. A man, a woman of honor that can conquer greed and anger, excessive desires, pridefulness, fears, arrogance, ignorance, and a hard sense of egoism. And rather, be one who can be analytical, and logical, and rational, and soft, intuitive, gentle, and creative. And thus feeling snug and secure, an inner confidence that no giant or small, ubiquitous, nefarious system can conquer. Peace, not merely and always from an outer show of force, but from a deep and abiding inner peace.